Hi, my name is Jen Rulon, and you may know me as Coach Jen. After knocking out 15 Ironman triathlons, I am an everyday, healthy human just like you. In this podcast, we will discuss how to metamorphosize into an everyday, healthy human through healthy physical habits and mindsets, as well as authentic living. Let's transform together in this journey called life and become the best, everyday, healthy human ever. Hello, and welcome to the Everyday Healthy Human podcast. I am your host, Jen Rulon, or you may know me on the gram as Coach Jen. Well, this episode is very near and dear to my heart, but it's going to be a series because I'm going to talk about why and how I picked up all my stuff and moved to Costa Rica. And I decided to go with a 4-part series just because of the fact that when I started writing out the outline and I started looking at all the analytics to everything, I thought there's no way I'm going to get this into even a 230-minute series. And I felt like there was so many important pieces about how I moved to Costa Rica and why I moved to Costa Rica that I knew I had to break it down into 4 15-minute segments. Now, I do know, I feel like maybe episode 2 and episode 3 might be a little bit longer than 15, but I figured it would be a great way to really break down everything about packing up my crap and moving to Costa Rica. So this episode is really going to be me talking about why I moved to Costa Rica, why I chose Costa Rica, a little bit of going deep on my personal motivation, some of the research and some of the decision making that I've made and why I decided to move to Costa Rica. So let's begin. Now, I am going to go very deep on this because I feel like I am at a point in my life that I could start talking about this. Now, I will tell you, and this is all planned, of course, that it will be about 2 years to the date that I moved down to Costa Rica officially. But when did I start visiting Costa Rica? Well, let's back it up. It was about 2018. I started following maybe Visit Costa Rica Vacations, all these different Costa Rica people, travel agencies, and I started seeing these photos and I thought to myself, what is this place? Now, I also remember learning about Costa Rica more based on the animal aspects, like regarding the scarlet macaws and the two-toed sloth and the three-toed sloths. Like I remember learning about the sloths and the scarlet macaws down in Central America, specifically Costa Rica. So I started looking at just, the ocean, which obviously we know that's my happy spot. And then seeing humpback whales, seeing dolphins, and then seeing the turtles. And I thought to myself, what is this country? Like this country has everything that I crave as a person who has loved the ocean her whole life. And so this was in 2018. I started just following people on Instagram and following travel companies and just different Costa Rica Instagram accounts, right? And just really falling in love. And then I started hearing people talk more about Costa Rica, or it was more on my radar, right? So let's move ahead. In 2019, I knew I was going to be done with Ironman triathlons, and you could go to that episode, and I will put that episode in the show notes. When I realized I was done with Ironman triathlons, I knew I needed to step away from society, from Wi-Fi, from just figuring out what was going to be my next step. Because here's the thing, y'all, I was done with a 30-year career in the sport of triathlon as an athlete. Okay. At the time, I asked my husband, I talked to my husband and I said, hey, guess what? I need a break. I'm going to go with my best friend. We're going to go to Costa Rica. And he's like, Costa Rica? I thought you were going to say like Miami or something. I was like, no, I need to go to Costa Rica. I need to see what this place is all about. So I ended up coming down to Costa Rica and I ended up coming down solo. My girlfriend couldn't pull it off that year due to life, right? And I come down here and I remember sitting on the beach just crying. And that episode is actually, I believe, episode 15 on really realizing my completing my Ironman chapter as an athlete, right? So I remember being here. I remember being I picked Samara. Samara was this little quaint town, easy to get to from Liberia. It was right on Liberia, Costa Rica. It was right on the beach. And I thought, okay, I think I can check this out. Found a hotel. The hotel owner did Ironmans. And I told him sort of my journey and my story. He's like, oh my God, get down here. I'll take care of you. I got taxis. We'll figure it out. And I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. So I literally sat on the beach, bawled my eyes out, went for a run, took a surf lesson, saw baby turtles, and I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. This is exactly my jam. And I thought, what a great place to visit, right? So then in 2020, we all know 2020 happened. At one point, I was supposed to come down for a retreat. I became really good friends with my friend Isabella. She ended up coming down in December of 2020. She asked me to come down because we were looking at doing some work together. And I went to a town called Nasara. And so there's Playa Guiones, Playa Nasara, and Playa Pilata. And I wanted to check out Nasara. Now, Nasara to me is very Americanized. It's very expats, very American, once again, very Americanized, right? Anyways, long story short, was there with them for about 10 days. And then I came back and I thought to myself, okay, I want to start doing possibly women's retreats down in Costa Rica. I think it's a great place to come and just sort of gain clarity and really start figuring out, like trying to find that better outlook in life. And really what I did in 2019, when I stepped away from everything in the world and the triathlon space, I thought to myself, oh my God, this place is bringing me so much joy and knowledge. How can I do that for others? Well, I talked to my ex about this and I said, I really want to come down, check out Nasara. I want to see if it's an opportunity to start putting retreats together. I really want to do the research. I think it would be a great opportunity to help women really find themselves on their second life, right? Whether that change is going through the menopausal, perimenopausal, whether it's going through a divorce, kids are out of school, whatever that might look like, right? Or kids are out of the house. Let's just say that. And so here I am wanting to really help women beyond going into their second version of their better life, right? Finding that better life. So in January of 2021, my husband at the time and I decided to go through a trial separation. So I ended up coming down to Costa Rica for 7 weeks. And I stayed in Samara for 2 weeks. I went to Nasara for 2 weeks, and then I came back down to Samara. And I was actually going to stay in Nasara for the rest of that time period, but it made me realize I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy my time in Nasara because I wasn't right at the beach. I wasn't 2 minutes away from the beach. It took me, I don't know, maybe 5-6 minutes to the beach. You get my point, right? And I remember listening to Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights. I highly recommend it. And he talked about how that he would go and do travel, and he would travel. And once he started feeling comfortable in a place, then he knew he could live there. Well, I was down here for 7 weeks, and I was, like I said, and when I came back to Samara, I went out on a boat. I went on a boat and we saw dolphins, and I was in heaven. I thought to myself, I could live here. I could absolutely live here. But then I thought to myself, well, how is that going to look like? Here we are going through this trial separation. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward, right? After I returned after these 7 weeks, I knew in my heart of hearts that I thought I could live down here. I could live in Costa Rica, but I couldn't figure out the logistics because one, I was married, and two, I thought, well, how can I live down here? I mean, I am a American living in Costa Rica. How is that possible? Plus, I'm still married. Anyways, time passed, time moved on. We're not going to get into details. I asked for a divorce and I filed the papers in September of 2021. And I remember going to bed every single night with gratitude. And I talk about my gratitude in episode 25 of really just saying thank you for everything that you've provided for me. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know how. I didn't know where. But I knew with the abundance that I had in my heart and in my mind that I knew that I was going to be moving to Costa Rica. I just knew it in my heart of hearts, and I couldn't figure out why, but I knew I had to trust the universe. So my time down here in Costa Rica, whether I was visiting, whether I was connecting with people on Instagram, I started becoming friends with a lot of people. I would meet them at yoga classes. I would meet them on the beach. I would have all these conversations with people from Samara. And I had friends also in Nassau, and I realized Nassau is just not my jam. Nassau, like I told you, it was very Americanized, very expats, where Samara was more about the culture, the locals, the people, the immediacy to the beach. It was more Costa Rica than I've ever felt in my life. And I thought to myself, I need to figure out, could I move to Samara, Costa Rica? It was November. I connected with a woman on Facebook, Corinne, and her and I've been staying in touch and all that stuff. And I thought, okay, I'm going to book a flight down to Costa Rica in December. December 30th is my flight. Y'all, I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't know where I was staying. I thought, okay, well, maybe I could stay at the hotel that I was at, Hotel Phoenix. Give Jay a shout out. I'll stay at Hotel Phoenix for as long as I can afford it. And then I could start looking for a place. I kid you not. I remember I was in San Antonio with my girlfriends, and I received a text message from Corinne. She goes, hey, Jen, guess what? We have our little 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment available starting at the end of January. And I said, immediately, I'll take it. I took it. And then I was able to figure out where I was staying for those 3 weeks, because I ended up staying at Hotel Phoenix for 2 weeks. And then I went over to stay at my brand new 1-bedroom, 1-bath little place. Then I had to go back to the States. And then that is literally how I made the decision of coming down to Samara, Costa Rica. I definitely feel there were 3 things that were involved. 1, I've been here as a visitor. 2, I was here longer than 5 or 6 days. I was down here for 7 weeks. When I recognized that I could actually live here and make a life down here as a digital nomad, then I knew that I could potentially live and move down here. Number 3, trusting. Trusting that the universe, God, your higher power, always has a plan and always has your back. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to live in Costa Rica by the beach. The universe provided. And I didn't have to worry about it because when she told me that it was available, immediately I knew that I was going to live in Costa Rica for the first 3 months. There you go. So, episode 2 is really figuring out the logistics and the financial and all that other fun stuff in between. So stay tuned. Have an amazing rest of your day. And guess what? I gotta go surf. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day. Pura vida, y'all. Ciao.